According to Alighieri, the Earth had a circumference of 20,400 miles. Per his calculation, the Earth had a surface area of 132,468,000. This means that sunlight or moonlight will be exposed to 5,519,500 square miles, or an arc length of 850 miles. Dante stated that from their current position to many times away. What he meant was not the distance, but time. 6,000 miles equates to the hours it would take for the sun to travel that distance. If the sun traveled 850 miles per hour, that means the sun would have taken 6,000 miles. As it was 7 hours from noon, it means that it was between 5 and 6, the time of sunrise. Dante then went on to talk about how light is affected by the atmosphere. Finishing this, he turned to Beatrice. Overcome by her celestial beauty, Dante could not spread enamoring countenance. He marveled at the fact that from the first time he had seen her from a distance to right now, he had always been able to convey her beauty. Now, standing at the precipice of eternity, he could not find a word to describe her, other than saying, not only does the beauty I beheld transcend ourselves, but truly I believe its maker only may enjoy it all. Canto 30. As he looked at her, they penetrated through the Premium Mobile and into the Imperium. Beatrice told Dante that he would receive both angelic beings and the saints. The latter in their spiritual bodies, I say, would be on the last day. It was at that moment that Dante was suddenly enveloped by a living light that blinded him in the same way that lightning will temporarily blind a person. Throwing but light, he heard Beatrice say, "Ever the love which quieteth this heaven welcomes into itself with such salute to make a candle ready for its flame." Canto 2:54. As swift as the light had come, the great Florentine poet found that his carnal and natural senses were heightened to a paranormal level. He could see the brightest star with ease and hear heavenly melodies with He saw what seemed like a river of light, blazing and sparkling, flowing from or through a meadow. The gilded ruby-colored sparks would momentarily land upon before flowing back into the river. This experience aroused the question in Dante's mind which Beatrice sensed and approved of. She instructed him to drink from the river before his question could be answered. Dante was wrong in presuming that the river was fiery, as it was in reality the holy body of the saints. However, the error was simple to explain, for yet thou hast not vision so exalted. Canto 30:81. This river was also virtually Now, I must explain something to my Protestant students that will contradict your views. According to the Diety, which was a document teachings of the 12 Apostles of Christ, the sacrament of baptism had a fourfold method. The primary method of sacrament of baptism was for the officiating priest or bishop to pronounce the Trinitarian formula and immerse the Capsicum in a river, event that a river was impossible due to seasonal changes or impractical due to political changes. The sacrament of baptism was to be done by the officiating priest or bishop, pronouncing the Trinitarian formula and immersing the individual in a tub of warm water during the winter. In the event that a full immersion in a tub was impossible or impractical, the sacrament of baptism was to be done by the officiating priest or bishop, pronouncing the Trinitarian formula while knelt on his hands and knees in a tub of water. The officiating priest or bishop would then plunge his head in the tub of warm water during the winter or cool water during the summer. And finally, in the event that a tub was impossible or impractical, baptism was done by the officiating priest or bishop, pronouncing the Trinitarian formula while the individual knelt and water was poured over his head. As the river would not permit a full body immersion, Dante swiftly to this river. The spiritual water cleansed his eyes, enabling him to see the river was actually the saints and angelic. The Father's light, or grace, was reflected in heaven in the manner that Dante saw as a circle vaster than the ecliptic. A single ray of this light was enough to become immobile. As the great Florentine poet observed, he saw souls on a terrace formation that appeared to be a white rose. Through his temporary glorified vision, Dante could see from the edge of one petal of the edge of his counterpart. He could see every joyful soul into its golden center. Beatrice silently led Dante amid the multitude of As he looked around himself, Dante saw a seat that most likely had a baldachin with a crown on it. These facts indicated that this seat was reserved for Holy Roman Emperor VII, and that the emperor would pass away before Dante passed away. Though Henry VII would strive to restore peace and righteousness to Italy, he would be rejected. Beatrice not only repeatedly, but also prophesied that Pope Clement V, the Holy Roman Emperor's Catholics. This interference would be judged by the Father, who would damn Pope Clement V to the same hole in hell that Simon Magus was in and Pope Boniface VIII would be in. She added that there were only a few seats left